Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the First Freestyle Club. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. Hey, man, there's a lot going on in the world, not only in the markets, in the world. But quick story, in life, right? As a dad, I've learned that you will have to take one for the family, right? For the team. I say team green. You're gonna have to take one for the family. We all went to it was a farm, one of the farms and pumpkin farm, and they had a lot of activities for kids, right? And activities consisted of hay rides, uh, the corn maze, and had animals. My boys actually had a great time. So towards the end, I'm ready because I'm ready to go back home and watch the game, even though it was great because the Ravens weren't playing um, this week, that week. So it was during their off. So my wife comes to me and says, "Donald, look, I've heard about these donuts. These cinnamon uh, apple cider donuts. I really want some." My boys, "Hey, Dad, yes, yeah, we want some too." Everybody comes, the dad. Okay, so can you stand in line? Man, let me tell you one thing. I hate lines. I don't know about some of you. But I don't know anybody that likes lines, but I really despise lines. Matter of fact, I know that when we went on vacation, went to Disney maybe about a year or two ago. I was trying to buy every like line pass I could because I just hate lines. I just hate them. Let me tell you the worst type of line. The worst type of line. The line wasn't that long. It was only maybe about 7 or 8 people in front of me, but the line would not move. I was in the line for the first 15 minutes, then 30 minutes, and 45, and an hour. And it was only 7 people in front of me. I was so frustrated. Not only that, the two young ladies behind me, I know their whole story, right? They both were just married. It was crazy. And I left my phone at home so I couldn't scroll or anything. It was just horrible. So I've learned as a dad, right? You're gonna have to take one for the team, right? You're gonna have to take one for the team. All in all, the kids had a good time. The donuts were good, but they were not worth an hour and 30 minutes in line. Only 7 people in front of me. I was so frustrated. But what we do for our family. All right. All right, let's move forward. So today we have a lot going on. Today the market's been a little crazy. Today the market closed at the Dow Jones was down 109 points, S&P 500 68 points, and the Nasdaq, man, almost a 400 point day. I mean, the Nasdaq was very volatile today. But you always have to look at, earlier this week, we early this week, President Trump traveled over to China for the negotiations to see what's going on in regards to, trying to get the trade deal. And it was just announced that he's going to reduce the tariff. So the stock market was happy about hearing that news and started going ballistic. But what always happens um, is that they people when the stock market runs up, there's always people who will sell, especially we reached new highs, right? There's always will be people that will sell to 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 close out some accounts. Not even close them out. They may sell a portion of their holdings. All right. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average, I always do week to week, right? I always do week to week. And so what we're always concerned about is how the market will perform week to week. If the market breaks the weekly low, then we have a problem. So the markets, the Dow Jones is not really near that week to week at all. So, but it was up. I mean, it's still up over 520 points since last week. All right. Um, the the S&P 500 once again is up 32 points, 32.58 points since last week, and the Nasdaq's still up 403 points since last week. All right. So even though the market, so like I said, we just always want to be aware where the market is, and we don't need to worry. Like I said, the little downdraft that we had today, right, gives us an opportunity to build some position. Just after hours, found out that Netflix is going to split, finally split the stock. Stock has been pretty expensive. It's over $1,000 a share. They've decided to split the stock, so that should be happening soon. And it's funny, it's like Netflix has not been performing probably the last few weeks, but few last quarter, but I think this will boost Netflix, but we'll see. We'll see. I own Netflix, and it's a core holding in my portfolio. I don't see any media companies touching Netflix right now. It was the first and the greatest, and they have a very extensive catalog and extensive uh, in regards to customers. They've expanded throughout the United States and across the world. Everybody's familiar with Netflix, as well as what's really driving Netflix right now is the advertising revenue that they're generating now off of their ad tier that they have. So I think that was great. Man, another thing that's going on, man, it's really sad with the government and government shutdown. And I hope this thing ends soon, but I don't think it's going to end soon. So I think that if you have the means, it'd be a good time to give to your local food bank, especially if you're blessed to have money at this time. You never know; it could be you at any time. And that's what the theme of first fruits. That's what it's really all about, man. Is we invest not just to line our pockets up, but we invest to have money, to have excess money to be able to take care of our households, but also to have money to give away, right? Have money to give away, and it's really important that we position ourselves and so that we're able to give away. So the first fruits allows us to do this, and I'm going to repeat this, right? It allows us, for one, is that we create a dividend portfolio. A dividend portfolio gives us, and dividends can be now dividends can be paid daily. They got daily dividend companies, as well as monthly dividend companies, as well as weekly dividend companies. So you can earn a dividend every day during the month if you see so. That's great, right? And when you put the dividends together, then you can create a portfolio that can double your income, or just to help you save a little bit more and put more money aside, and being prepared for times like this. Like markets always change, right? And a lot of times first fruits really is about not living on our 100% of our income, because markets change. So how are we going to live on 100% of our income when there will come a time when probably our income will be cut in some manner or another, whether it's the cost of inflation and prices going up, and what we used to be able to purchase we can't purchase now as much, or um, just budgets changing, jobs changing, AI changing. There's so many factors that can really interrupt our our regular schedule for income. So we just need to be prepared and prepare ourselves for what's going on. And yes, it may seem hard, right? It may be a hard thing to do, to put money aside, but there's a way, right? And the way I teach is this, right? The way I teach is this. So what you have to do is those first dollars. Like tomorrow is Friday, right? And those first dollars, you have to take that step and take one for the team. And maybe it's something that, you plan to purchase, you don't need to purchase, right? Because if your income is already allotted for 100%, there's nothing that will end that process, but first fruits can end that process, right? So if you take those first dollars when you aim them and you set them aside, and I say give a portion, and as well taking another portion of it, right, and put it into a brokerage account, right? That allows you to, of course, to give, right? And giving does something to you internally. It helps you, helps you prepare you and prepares your finances where you can learn and not to live on 100% of your income. And it's so hard to do. Like if you've been spending and you spend you spend your check and you live check to check and you spend all your income every time it comes in, you're buying things, then giving a portion helps you in regards to that, helps you move forward to making the first fruits and learning how to spend only on a percentage of your income and not 100%, right? And the next thing is we set up the three portfolios that I discuss all the time. A dividend portfolio, because think about it. If we give and then we set up and also take a portion and set up our dividend portfolio, what happens is over time, our dividend portfolio that can pay us any day, right, begins to take over the amount of money we're giving away anyway, right? Or the amount of money that we're investing anyway. We start to get those funds back. And what they happens, they snowball over time and they grow and grow and grow. So the dividends, and then we use the dividends, and guess what? We can do now this one. The next step takes a little practice and a little time. That's why I say you join the First Fruit Stock Club, is that you need to learn how to use options. And options aren't, you can have low cost options. You can buy options as little as $50, right? And you're just risking $50. Now you're not gonna earn tremendous amount. You can earn 100% or 200% on those dollars, right? But you're only risking 50. And maybe you start out something like that, but putting together option. Now, option involves risk and investing involves risk. Okay. And thirdly, developing a long-term portfolio where we just buy shares all the time and we just hold it. We don't care what the news was going on. We buy the best companies in the world. We buy ETFs, right? We're buying America, right? And because America is the greatest, the greatest economy in the world, there will never be an economy like in the United States. Okay, so we buy the greatest economy in the world, and we get that through index, right? I like Vanguard VOO, and I like the QQQ, which is the Nasdaq 100, the best stocks in the Nasdaq right now. We know that we're in a technology driven economy. Okay, so putting that together, right? And then so you see, I know you're like, Donald, well, I put this money away and I have this money set aside, and so how do I, right? How do I, um, if right now, and I'm not used to using the first fruits principle, right? And it's hard for me because I already have the dollars that I have coming in. I have bills already coincide with those dollars. How can I move forward? How can I get out of this rat race that I'm in? So what you have to do is at the front of your check, you have to use the first fruits principle and give and invest. At the back of your check, right? When you come across paying those bills, you're going to have to find some other things to do, right? Other ways to generate income, right? Um, Having an extra job, getting a little side hustle, right? Or DoorDash, whatever. You have to find those things to do to take over those monies that you are going to spend. But what happens is that when you don't use the first fruits philosophy, you'll get a new job, a new hustle, make more money, but then spend all of that also. This economy and the way it's set up, is set up for you to spend all of your money, right? That is how it's set up. So first fruits allows you to move out of that process, which is hard. It's hard. You have all your bills set up, you buy the things you want. But the problem is, and most people, and you might hate when I tell you this, is that you can't spend all of your money. Like your money isn't really yours, right? Your paycheck isn't really yours. And when you don't, and how the economy is going to get its money back, it's going to get its money back through taxes. Increased taxes will always be more, will always be increased. It will get through inflation. Your paycheck will never keep up with inflation. It will never happen. And even what recession does is slows the economy down, gets you still, and then you really realize that you're not moving forward financially, right? It slows you down and stops you from moving forward, and you find out you're not moving forward financially. And you get bullied by those things. So what happens is, it's not real. It's like the Matrix. When you think that when you get your paycheck that you can do whatever you want with it. And when you decide to do whatever you want with it, like I said, inflation, taxes, recession, there will always be a recession. There will always be a blimp in the economy where the economy slows down. But the problem is your bills don't slow down. My bills never slow down. Those jokers come in every month, same time, same payment, but your paycheck can slow down. That's why we have to prepare, and we have to break ourselves out of this rat race, right? So how do we do that? You have to use the first fruits. You got to use the first dollars that come in and move them to the side, move them out of the way, and then work your way through the back end of your check and work your way having a budget and working your way through the back end and paying those bills as much as you can. And then the part that you invested and gave, then you need to have a side hustle to take place of that. Right. And I'm not saying that you have to have a whole lot and that it has to be, you have to start with a large percentage, but you have to start. Otherwise, you'll always be in the position that you are in now. Okay. And that's if, you've decided that you want to do new things and you want to move yourself forward financially. All right. So, but man, so yeah, this week's in the market. We're at the end. We're moving into towards the end of year rally, which we will get. And as you see, is not sweet. You're gonna have to fight to the end of the year. You have the ups and downs. Today's 400 down day, right? But we still have to buy. And if you don't have first fruits, of course you can't buy, right? You're not in a position to buy because what happens is something bills always happen. That's why it has to be at the front. It can't be at the back or maybe if I have something left, I'll invest or it has to be at the front, at the foremost. This is what I'm going to be on every week. I know it's tough and it's a different philosophy, and most people think that their money is theirs, but it's not. All right. So, man, I think we have a great opportunity in the markets. Like I said, we only thing we need to worry about is in the markets is if we hit that weekly low over there, but we're far away from that. And if we get close, I know we'll probably bounce because we're at some probably the best few months in the market to invest, where majority of the returns are in the market. So what we want to do is we want to be, if we have a down day, we want to be investing. We want to have, put money in the market. That's our goal, right? All right. So I'll be here next week, man, like I said, if you're in position to help some people, I know the food stamps and different things are going to expire, and unfortunately, I don't see this thing ending anytime soon. Man, I hope it does. But look, so we got to help where we can. I'm in Maryland, Maryland Food Bank. I'm looking to donate there and just helping people who are right now in a tough time. You know, like I said, you never know; it could be you. But you know, we've been blessed. So, so thank you guys so much, and always remember, man, everything is about first fruits, right? That's what it's all about financially. All right, guys. Until then, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and remember tomorrow we have an opportunity, right? We have an opportunity to um, to start a new process for us, right? The process of investing and giving first, right? And if we don't start, if we never start, then we will continue the process and it will never end. So tomorrow we get another opportunity, if you're working, to start a new process, opening up a brokerage account. And then if you need some help, join the community, right? We have a community that's here to help you, to move you forward financially. Just think, having dividends coming in and replacing your income, replacing your job income, right? How would that feel? How would that feel? It relieves stress, right? Money isn't everything, but it's a lot of things, right? Relieving stress financially. Life isn't about us being stressed out, right? So, but the market, we have an opportunity, right? All the wealth in America is not through a paycheck, it's through the market. If you look at the top richest Americans, they make their money through the market. So you need to make your money through the market, right? All right. Until next time, thank you guys so much. And until then, man, be blessed. Bye bye.